and welcome back to Autumn Time Flowers. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I just had a gigantic ice cream cone, and I don't know how that relates to me reading a visual novel on the internet, but you gotta start these things somehow. You gotta start somewhere. It's like a puzzle. You find a thread, you start there, and you tug, and pretty soon you've pulled away the entire fabric, and that's really not how puzzles work at all. It's more of an elaborate metaphor for how you arrive at a conclusion. So, how you doing? We are here once again to read about girls just really going through it, and our girl Yuzu is still very much going through it, and we've just gone through our requisite somebody's got a cold arc, and I'm still predicting there's gonna be another one. I have a feeling that we got Nerine through her cold, and I got a feeling that Yuzu's gonna end up with a bit of the old feel bad sickies herself. So why wait any longer? And let's just get it going. The word momentary comes from the Latin momentum. You did it! She's back! She's all patched up. No. No. I don't know what I'm saying. Words are just not coming. The ice cream got my brain acting funny. But she's back on her feet, all thanks to the goodwill, to good nature, and the positive vibes from our girl Yuzu. It's the weekend and the day of the long-awaited leaf viewing. Neri, now fully recovered from her cold, takes the lead and addresses the cooking club members gathered outside the dormitories. Recalling our childhood together, I capture a photograph of her. Oh yeah, we're bringing, look at this photograph. My best friend, who's been dealing with the Council of Nikaya's affairs, even from her sickbed. Perhaps having meekly heeded my warning about not being well enough to go to the leaf viewing party, though, she's managed to get better in time for today. And the bento, which had been a major source of concern for me. This girl just gets things done. Get your head in the game! What are you doing? Neri chides me. I peer through the camera's viewfinder again, ready to capture the moment with my best friend, or rather all the club members, earnestly listening to Sakuragi-kun's speech. As we're trooping down the little path through the woods. Hey, how you doing? Did you get scared by a leaf? Did you get scared by a ladybug, perhaps? The bushes rustle like there's some beast within. Suo-kun screams, drawing everyone's attention to her. She got freaked out by a ladybug. I love it when she just kind of goes into full on, huh, what mode. It's so cute. Let's hope that none of them have a craving for bunny meat. I would hope not. I don't think that anything you find out here in the forest is going to be something you want to have as a pet, nor do I think that that's something that you could keep hidden in a dorm. They're wild beasts, untamable.
確か狐だとか鹿だとか。ああ、どっちも可愛い。嘘じゃなくて本当に出てきたらいいのにね。
Her sister nods in agreement, but Suo-kun frowns.
嘘じゃなくてって。ああ、音の正体はこれだよ、これ。
She picks up a fist-sized stone and tosses it into the greenery. Gotcha! She gotcha! Little trickster got you again! You're so easy, Suo! You're so easy!
スオちゃんから一本取ったってチドリンやエリカちゃんに自慢できるよ。
Again, if they had Nintendo, she wouldn't be this little gremlin. She wouldn't need to be throwing rocks into bushes and literally giving girls like Suo a heart attack.
本当にやめてね。私驚くのって苦手なの。胸がドキドキして。分かったよ。嫌な思いをするいたずらは私としても不本意ってやつだしね。それじゃ今度はスオちゃんの左右の靴の紐を
Wait, don't they wear loafers? Like, I'm pretty sure that these uniforms wear loafers and you don't tie those. So I don't know how that's gonna work. And we've not really seen anybody really wearing casual attire outside, you know, of you know, just like your nighttime clothes, and those don't have shoelaces either.
それって軍隊でやるいたずらよね。
And again, it's not gonna work. We're all wearing loafers. I affectionately watch the unusual scene of Suo-kun chasing after Ichigo-kun.
まあ、彼女もまだ少女なのだしな。
Seeing Suo-kun acting in such an uncharacteristically immature and girly manner causes me to accidentally voice my thoughts out loud.
何が少女なの？僕のことさ。秋のもみじの中を行く可憐な少女といった風情だろ。
I mean, I would agree. I twirl on the spot for her.
そうね。でも、くるくる回るのはよした方がいいと思うわ。ん？どうしてだい？せっかく作ったお弁当が台無しになってしまうでしょ。
That's a good point. Don't want to do like a twirl around and then you just throw 18 sandwiches into the air or some shit. Struck with that realization, I hesitantly lift up the box to check.
大丈夫だよな。一回だけだからひどくなってないわよ。高崎さんのようなオディールのグランフェッテを踊ってなければね。
She's talking about the 32 things she danced at the ballet recital performance of Swan Lake. Imagining myself doing the same with a bento in hand, I chuckle.
あんなに回ったらお弁当の中身がバターになってしまうよ。それは困るわ。楽しみにしているのですもの。
I mean, basically you just got your own smoothie making method here. You could just, you know, this is a manual method of making a smoothie. It's kind of it's still gonna be a pretty chunky affair. But you know, you got a smoothie there. It's maybe, you probably couldn't call it a smoothie because I think to be a smoothie, I think, you know, there's a perceived amount of smoothness that is implied by the name smoothie. We share a smile as clear as the autumn skies above us. I continue along, enveloped by the scent of the forest and my best friend's perfume as she walks beside me. It's so picturesque, Suo-kun says, her eyes narrowed, and I nod my agreement as I too gaze out at the forest, turning from green to red and gold.
森深いからだろうか。この辺りは秋が深く感じるね。場所柄、気温が低いのでしょうか。他よりも季節が移ろっているように感じますね。
We've reached the spot designated for our autumn leaf viewing. We've all been enjoying the autumn scenery on the way here, but now that we've reached our destination, we're properly basking in it.
そういえば、秋をめでるのは久しぶりなのか。
This time last year, there was a troubling incident, and I had to spend my time resolving that. Then, as soon as it was over, the Council of Nikaya.
Yuzuriha senpai!
Hey, how's it going? I feel a soft, springy weight against my back. Hey, how you doing? This girl's got nuts. My taller frame acts as a buffer for Ichigo-kun's small body.
見事な栗じゃないか。この辺りに生えているのかい？
ちょっと奥に行ったらたくさん栗の木がありましたよ。
She looks up at me with wide, sparkling eyes, like a kid waiting for her parents' praise.
それは魅力的だ。ぜひ収穫しないとね。
I'm being serious. While it's fun to appreciate the season with leaf viewings, it's also a time of bountiful harvests and even more bountiful appetites. So she mentioned an incident around autumn of last year. I'm gonna maybe bookmark that in my old brain piece. Say, maybe I need to keep that in mind. Because that feels like, I don't know why, it feels like a thing that you wouldn't just kind of say in narration without it meaning something. Freshly picked chestnuts sound delicious. Even I can't mess up something as simple as boiled chestnuts.
それじゃ、栗拾いに向かいたいから、そろそろ話してはくれないか
？While it is something I want to do, the suggestion is also my way of extricating myself from Ichigo-kun, who's become awfully touchy-feely lately. I don't like the way the other club members are staring.
栗拾いをゲームにしたらどうですか？
A game! Good! How about we don't make a date part of the prize package for winning? Because I think that turned out really bad last time. Or at least how that turned out is maybe still a bit in limbo. Ichigo-kun pulls back from me obediently and turns to look around at the other girls.
誰が一番多く取れるか競うんですよ。それで多く取った人は好きなお弁当を自分のと交換できるとかどうですかね？
例えば、僕のお弁当とスオ君のと交換できるといった風にだね。
Yeah, that feels weird to me. It's like, what if you got a bunch of stuff in your bento that I just don't like? Like, what if I make my bento that's awesome because it's all the stuff that I want, and then you make one and it's just a bunch of crap that I don't want? Like, why would I do that? That's a terrible, like that. You are really playing with fire here.
せっかく競うならゲームにしたら面白いかなって。
But then again, it's probably still better than, hey, if you got more chestnuts, we can go on a date. Everyone else seems to be really into the idea.
面白そう。私やってみたいわ。お友達と一緒にゲーム。
Is this something on the checklist? Is this something on the checklist? Is my girl about to check something off her list?
みんながいいなら構わないが。
I catch Ringo-kun's eye and she smiles and nods too.
それじゃペア戦はどう？二人で協力してやった方が白熱しそうだし。そうね。お友達同士で競うのは楽しそうだわ。
Once Neri's given her smiling seal of approval, there isn't a single objection. The instigator of the idea raises her hand and...
それじゃあ私的には譲り合う
Of course you do! Of course you do! She declares loudly.
それじゃあ私は白羽さんと組みたいわ。おしゃべりしたいことたくさんあるの。
Hey, where's poor Ringo in all this? Poor girl. I was kind of thinking that since we were setting up for the pairing thing that she was going to end up paired off with Ringo and they were actually gonna be able to kind of have a talk. Check it off the list, girl. Get that notebook out. Check it off. My teacher seems overcome with emotion for some reason, but that aside, yeah, it probably is. probably totally innocent, but Ringo-kun's blatant favoritism could cause unnecessary conflict. It might not come to that since most students in the cooking club have fairly mild personalities, but
確かにペア制は白熱しそうで面白そうだ。了承しよう。だが、早い者勝ちだと差が出すぎてしまう。
after all, whoever pairs up with me clearly has an advantage, I say jokingly, which gets a laugh.
ここはペアにするためくじにしたいと思うが。
Alright, we're gonna draw straws. We're not gonna just like, alright. Ichigo is very disappointed. Yeah, she's not happy about that. Letting Suo-kun and Ichigo-kun's cries of protest roll off her back, the club president agrees with an amiable smile. I get that Ichigo-kun's disappointed, but what's Suo-kun's deal?
みんな納得してくれたようだね。
Yeah, her being a little distraught on that seems a tad strange. Dun, 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 dun. I still got the OP in my head, man. It's really good. I've listened to it like 20 times since starting the game. I gaze up at the autumn twilight. The rays of golden light breaking through the puffy clouds create a strikingly beautiful effect, and I feel a supreme sense of loneliness. I'm the only person in the world. Staring up at the millions of glittering stars surrounded by the deep, silent forest, I feel like I've been transported into a painting.
確かあれがカシオペア座だったかな。
With my mind distracted by these childish fantasies, I speak out loud. That's pretty much the only constellation I know. I chuckle to myself, thinking how my astronomy-loving best friend would probably enjoy this a lot more than me. The vibrations of my unconscious laughter have traveled down to my— What? You got injured? What did you do? In that instant, a dagger of intense pain shoots up from my ankle all the way up to my brain, giving me a shock like I've been hit on the head with a blunt object. What happened? The basket I carried my bento in is filled with an almost overflowing heap of chestnuts. They're one of the reasons I'm in the situation I am right now. I look down at them as they peek their little faces out at me from inside the basket.
冗談じゃないぞ。
Where's you? Who was with you when this happened? Or, like, did they just run back? Or, like, y'all couldn't have gone that far, right? Not wanting to face reality, I think back on what happened just a short while earlier. Thank you, I would like to be filled in.
ここなら取り放題じゃないか。
After lunch, we held our totally impartial drawing of straws.
はいです。ここなら私としても一番になれると思うのですよ。
I got faith in you. I wound up paired with Ringo-kun. Lucky us! Okay, so it did happen. All right. Did you get injured trying to tell her that maybe this probably ain't gonna work? I wound up paired with Ringo-kun, brimming with competitive spirit. She clenched her fist in front of her chest.
優勝商品があまり大したものではないから適当でいいと思うよ。
いえ、料理部で3回誰でもペアを組める件は魅力的ですよ。
Oh, well, I mean that's a pretty good reward. In the end,
結局優勝者がお弁当を選び放題がなくなったしな。
yeah, that would probably just lead to a lot of, man, I don't really like this. It was already past lunchtime by the time we arrived at our leaf viewing base. If we'd saved lunch until after the chestnut collecting competition, well, people can't work on empty stomachs, so the idea was shot down.
公開処刑だったな。
A public execution.
はい。
いや、こんなに見事な栗の木を見つけたのは我々だけだろうってね。
Look at us
優勝は
go.
間違いなしだ。
Watching Ringo-kun out of the corner of my eye as she nodded elatedly, I remembered how proudly I'd shown Neri the bento I'd made. That spin I did really was a bad idea.
さあ、早く始めましょう。急がないと他の人に取られてしまうですよ。
この方角を選んだのは僕たちしかいなかっただろう。だから大丈夫だよ。
しかしですね、敵はうっかり者の姉だけではなく、切れ者のスオちゃんもいるのです。油断はできませんよ。
Dang, she's a little predator. Look at her go. She's got the instincts. She's got the killer instinct.
よほど誰かとペアを組みたいと見えるね。
Even as I said it, you might be a little bit. I just barely managed to stop myself from pressing my hand to my forehead in frustration at my own lack of consideration. It's not the kind of thing I should be saying to Ringo-kun. Yeah, not right now. Now is not the best time.
はい、絶対負けられないですよ。
She looks like she's handling things okay, though. Again, this would just be so intensely awkward. Like, I've been in situations like this where you're kind of dealing with a situation like that, and it's like hey, give me a little bit to think about it, but then you end up in a situation where you've got to be around that person, and it's just like, well, oh man, this is awkward. So I'm feeling that secondhand awkwardness right now. She responded brightly.
そうだね。僕も和菓子を独占するために頑張るとしよう。
I said, grateful for her obliviousness.
さすがに軍手なしじゃ手で剥くのは無理か。
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. I tried a few different ways of peeling off the burrs more efficiently, but
大丈夫ですか？出ていませんか？
she pulled out a band-aid and examined my hand worriedly.
数が数だからね。手早く剥く方法をいろいろ模索してみているのだけど。
やっぱり基本に忠実が一番です。こうですよ、八代先輩。
She pressed her foot down gently on a fallen chestnut, then deftly used her other foot to peel the shell away at the point where it split.
見事だ。
おばあちゃん直伝ですからね。
My
先人の知恵
my
です。
grandma's got the feats wisdom.
基本に勝るものはないか。以前話してくれた料理教室を開いている方だね。
はい。父や母は買い付けで日本より外国にいる方が長いですから、祖母に教わることが多かったのです。
I felt a new sense of closeness with her upon hearing this insight into her complicated family situation.
そうだったのか。海外じゃないが、僕も似たようなものかな。
そうなのですか。
祖父母に預けられていたわけではないが、母は体が弱く、父は転勤族で忙しい。あまり家族には恵まれなかったのかな。
The last line comes out in a murmur.
すまない。やはり僕の事情とリンゴ君では違うな。
宝石商です。
Oh, damn. Yeah, you're rich. God damn. Seems like she's from an even more refined background than I thought. She asked me the same question back, and I replied that my father was in banking. Okay, you're doing pretty well to do yourself. At the outset, I thought it would be awkward, but our chestnut picking proceeded smoothly. So smoothly that we ended up getting carried away. We lost track of time and carried on past the designated regrouping time.
そろそろ戻らないとな。
The basket I'd been carrying my bento in was filled to the brim with chestnuts. We were sure to win. I was certain.
リンゴ君も
I called out in her direction. She was still picking up chestnuts beneath a row of chestnut trees marching up a steep slope.
わかりました。
Responding to my announcement, she started heading back toward me. All right, this is the moment I realized. The moment I sensed keenly that her decision to take a shortcut down the slope was a dangerous one, and my bad feelings are never wrong. She was probably about 10 paces away from me when she stumbled on the slope and... Hearing her scream, I dashed into action! I started to run straight for her. Sacrificed her body for the sake of the cutest little apple sister you ever did see. And now here we are. It's great that I saved Ringo-kun, but in return, I ended up with a horribly sprained ankle. I thought about trying to limp back with her supporting me, but yeah, I don't think that would have worked. That's just not gonna be comfortable for either party. Instead, I asked Ringo-kun, who looked like she was dying of guilt, to return to the meeting point and get help, but the sky is gradually turning from scarlet to a dark purple. It's not dark enough to see the stars. Oh man. That Mayuri situation all over again. Hey, at least it's not raining. Maybe the pessimistic streak I had as a child is resurfacing. All my thoughts have taken a downward turn. Worst comes to worst, I'll have to spend the night out here. Oh, that's a little ominous. I chuckle wryly at myself as the nightingale chooses exactly that moment to start singing, then... The movement causes another electric shock of pain, followed by a dull thud in my head. Damn. God. Yuzu's just going through it, man. It's real bad. This girl cannot get a break. Well, I mean, hopefully she doesn't have a break. I mean, jeez. Whatever the situation, it's up to you. Whether or not you're able to laugh it off all depends on how you feel. I recall my father's words. I searched through my memories trying to remember when he uttered them. My father is the kind of person who always speaks respectfully, even if he's speaking to a young child or his own daughter. That's why I'm confused as to when he delivered such a frank remark. Oh shit, it's night and they still haven't... Jeez, how far out were you all? As the last crimson rays disappear below the distant horizon, the forest is enveloped in an even deeper darkness, and me with it. Oh, it's gonna rain. Are we really gonna do this? This poor girl cannot get it. You can't rain on her too. Come on. God. This game's just being outright mean to Yuzu now. Although this is true darkness, free from any artificial light, thanks to the light of the moon, I'm still able to make out the silhouettes of the now familiar trees surrounding me. However, I can also see ominous dark clouds gathering in the distance. Rain clouds, of course! Yeah, this is not gonna be good. Not gonna be good. This is not where you want to be stuck right now. Wandering off somewhere else after Ringo-kun's gone to get help would be nothing short of a stupid... Yeah, you can't, like, you've kind of like, this is what you just gotta wait it out. But what if they don't find me? Students aren't used to navigating these woods, and it's already nighttime. It's looking more and more likely that I'm going to be spending a full night here. Oh no. Even just attempting to stand overwhelms me with unbearable pain. I grind my back teeth together to try and force back the pain. Letting out a long breath of air, I touch my hand to my forehead. Despite the cold, my skin is coated with a light sheen of sweat. The pain, which up until now hadn't bothered me unless I moved, has developed into a dull ache that covers my entire body like a thin, invisible membrane. I mean, I don't think that's gonna be enough of a splint to help you out. You're gonna need some like side support. You're gonna have to like grab some really strong twigs or something to kind of like shore that up on the sides or something. There are plenty of sticks laying around that I can use for a splint.
力には自信があるが、さすがに素手で上着なんて破れないよな。
Then how about my skirt? I look down at my skirt, longer than the one we wear in summer.
ダメだ。想像したらセクシーすぎて笑ってしまう。
It is an absurdly sexy image. Just imagine anybody stumbling on you in that state. Me, dressed in our autumn uniform, my skirt ripped so short I risk flashing my underwear if I bend over. I can't make I can't make anyone witness that, male or female. I sigh at my own self-deprecation.
八重垣君の気持ちが分かったよ。
I mutter to myself, I can't keep it together without making a few jokes. I look up at the pale moon as the dark clouds start to creep across it.
何心細いと思うなんてね。
When I was younger, I was always like this. I had this surreal sense that I'm incorporeal, floating several centimeters above the earth. My feet aren't anchored to the ground. When it comes down to it, nothing's really changed.
こんな私をなぜ彼女たちは求めていたのだろう。
The girl who gave me the love letter just last month, although it already feels like an age ago, Ichigo Sasaki, who makes no effort to conceal her affection, and Ringo Sasaki, who made her own brave confession. I'm flattered they feel that way about me. It means they accept me. However,
彼女たちは私が同性愛者だとは知ら
I don't know. I think they kind of do if they're literally asking you out. I think they know what lesbians are by this point.
I think that everybody's pretty much caught on because, I mean, obviously at first, like, I believe there was a conversation or two earlier in the story where Ringo and Ichigo both were kind of like, huh, liking girls, huh? That's a thing? Huh, interesting. And I think everybody kind of knows what went on with Rika and Suo for a while, and then why Mayuri is such a big deal, and everybody on the known planet, even people that don't attend St. Angraecum, know about Chidori and Erika at this point. Like, I think that they've kind of like seen enough actual real connections to happen at this point that they kind of do know what they're saying here. They know, like, and I don't think that Yuzu's personality has left any question at all of her sexuality. I think people have kind of known that she's a big old raging lesbian since very shortly after meeting her. That's just the impression that I get. What if their feelings for me were infectious? If I were to reciprocate those feelings for real, would they accept me for who I am? The person who comes to mind is Narire Komikado, the one I've always yearned for. I know that she wouldn't accept me despite being, no, because she's my best friend. In that case, whether it's just a manifestation of my admiration, or if it really is love,
思いを断ち切り別の誰かと。
I mean, it is one way of looking at it. I mean, obviously, if... Like, I don't think that this is necessarily wrong. I think it's wrong if you look at it as in replacing. Like, I don't think you can just, like, turn those feelings off and then immediately turn them on to someone else. I think you can absolutely date and try, but... Like, I think it's perfectly valid to be like, okay, I have these strong feelings for a person, and they have kind of made it plainly clear that they don't swing this way. Maybe it is the smart move to just go ahead and move on and try something. Like, play the field a little bit, but be honest about that, I think, is the key, is that if you're going to go into a situation, like I literally had this situation happen last year where somebody was very unsure and didn't know whether to shit or get off the pot. So I know what I'm talking about here. I know that I've seen somebody kind of do this kind of shit before. So yeah. But the thought of it alone sends a knife through my heart. It's a different kind of pain to that afflicting my ankle. A pain that constricts my chest and makes it hard to breathe.
助けてくれネリ
Oh.
幼い頃のように
I've lost my usual puffed up pomp, my deflated heart a tiny forlorn thing. When I'd come home crying that dusky evening, my best friend had said to me,
困ったら靴のかかとを
fucking Wizard of Oz, man. I feel something tugging inside my chest, like the rumble of distant thunder. Hey, there's people! It comes.
聞こえてたら答えてゆずりは
A voice that resonates clearly in my ears. No. This voice is...
ネリ
The moment her name leaves my lips, I know it's true. I'd know her voice anywhere, no matter how far away, no matter how faint.
ネリ
I whisper her name again, feeling like I'm about to burst into either laughter or tears. As I hear the sound of her footsteps and voice drawing closer, my feelings continue to linger somewhere in the middle, neither shifting definitively one way nor the other. Then, all at once, the nearby shrubbery rustles loudly and...
ゆずりは
My hero! She appears before me, glowing pale in the moonlight.
やっぱり来てくれたんだね
When I'd come home crying that dusky evening, I felt I had regressed back to my younger self, and I realized that it was becoming harder and harder to repress myself. Dun, 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 dun. I once spoke about dreams with a friend. My friend told me they had 3 recurring dreams. One was a dream of looking down in a cylindrical greenhouse where richly colored birds and butterflies danced through the air. Another was of being naked and shivering in the middle of an empty, sterile white room. The third, she stubbornly refused to tell me, no matter how much I cajoled her, although I really only asked nicely. All she'd tell me was that it made her feel bad. Every time I hear about other people's dreams, I think how different they are to my own. The dreams I hear from the others are fantastical and nonsensical, far removed from reality. They become someone else, fly through the air, go on an adventure with a character from a movie. The dreams I have aren't like that. My dreams are... mostly recollections of the past. Like I'm rewinding a tape burned with my memories and rewatching it. Sometimes I do have rather weird dreams where someone says or does things they wouldn't normally do, but they never involve places that I haven't been to or people I've never spoken to in real life. What I see is always what I've experienced, which is why when I dream, I always feel very sad. I kind of dream the same way, actually. I don't have, like, wild, crazy, fantastical dreams most of the time. That said, like, I can dream of fictional characters if I have, like, a strong tie to them. But for the most part, most of my dreams are pretty grounded in reality and very normal and oftentimes like, oh, that's not a thing that I really want to relive. But there's some fun stuff every now and again. It's just, very rare. I transferred schools a lot due to my father's work. Despite knowing from the start that I'd soon have to say goodbye, I always tried my hardest to fit in. But along the way, repeatedly meeting new people and then parting from them in such a short time frame, I developed a negative disposition. Making friends with my classmates when I was just going to leave soon was pointless, and saying goodbye was painful. Just like a certain girl I know, books became my only friends. I can't say I had a good home life either. My younger brother was born when I was in elementary school. Due to complications with the pregnancy, my mother, who had previously been healthy, was from then on ill. Of course, she could no longer follow my father on his frequent transfers. She moved into a hospital near her parents' house, and that's the image that comes to me when I think of her. Sometimes it would be a long journey to go see her from wherever he was based. I enjoyed those little trips with my father, who I otherwise rarely got to see. And I was always happy to see my mom, my mother, laying in her hospital bed. She was a gentle woman, brimming with compassion, but she had a way of speaking that left the most important things unsaid. As a child, that made me feel extremely anxious. She'd say stuff like, "It's okay, don't worry, the doctor is extremely skilled, though there are still issues elsewhere." Once on the way home from visiting my mother, my father asked me a question. I don't remember the exact phrasing, but it was about all the yearbooks I'd received. Whenever I left the school, I'd receive a big card with a signed note from each of my classmates. When I said that I was carefully keeping each and every one I received, for some reason my father looked extremely sad. And then, after that day, I stopped moving schools. However, by that time a degree of timidity had been mixed into my already negative disposition. If I were to blame anyone for me becoming timid, I'd say it originated with my mother. I excelled at remembering things and again recalling those memories. After hearing or seeing something once, I never forgot it. My mother was the same. In elementary school, when you're studying the basics, it put me well ahead of my peers. Why can't they do it? But it's often the case that excelling in some areas can have more harmful consequences in others. When I transferred into a school which would become my last, I was a terribly melancholy, nervous, and disagreeable child. I was at that odd age, on the border between early and late childhood. And that's when I met her. Aww! Nerine Komikado. She was the complete opposite of me. Or rather, she reminded me of who I had once been. Vivacious yet gentle, and with a firm sense of self. She stuck to her own opinions, even in the face of older kids. At first, my new classmates were all nice to me as they tried to talk with me, though they'd always end up withdrawing like waves from the shore. So I kept my distance from Nerine Komikado too at first. Because I thought that if I let her get close to me, she would just leave me again one day like everyone else had. To me, she was like the sky on a winter's night. So pure and beautiful you could get lost in her, but totally untouchable, and with a distinct boundary between herself and other people. But that boundary I thought I saw was of my own making. A little while after I'd started at school, we went on a trip. We're getting all the lore now. No, don't cry. We were told to get into pairs and go walking, but I was on my own. As bad luck would have it, I took a nasty fall and scraped my knee. The stinging pain and the unbearable loneliness. I was so sad, so hurt. All alone, I started crying quietly to myself then.
大丈夫。痛くないよ。
She spoke to me as she washed the wound with water from her flask. After putting on a band-aid, she held out her hand to me.
私はコミカドネリネ。知らないかもだから、もう一度自己紹介。
八代ゆずりは。
I
was so nervous that I couldn't probably grasp a hold of her proffered hand.
正しい握手ができないと、一人前って認められないって、お父さんが言ってたよ。私の目を見て、しっかり握手するの。
Man, she's a little go-getter.
八代ゆずりは。よろしく、コミカドさん。
ネリネでいいよ。ゆずりはちゃん。
ネリネちゃん。
Already on a first-name basis and we just met. That's how you know you're friends for life. Oh, look at this. The red thread. The red thread of fate, tying them together forever. The memory of that moment is seared into my brain. Joy wins over sorrow in the dream this time. Yes, I remember. From the moment we shook hands, I was mesmerized. Her smile, not wintry, but like a window thrown open on a sunny spring day. God, it just goes so deep. Are you awake? For a moment, I think the voice is a continuation of my dream. Oh, look at this. She's so vulnerable right now. She's just had it, man. This is the look of a girl that has been put through the goddamn ringer, and we are still only in chapter 3. A solid warmth, a slight swaying motion, and the scent of lilies serve to inform me that this is reality. Narine Komikado is carrying me on her back.
起きたのね。まだ眠っていてもいいのに。
The warmth and motion have drowsiness tugging at my lids again, but
肩を貸してくれ。歩けるよ。
ダメよ。今は平気かもしれないけど、歩いたら後でひどくなるかもしれないわ。だからダメ。
重いだろ。
this song, dude! This song is engineered to make you cry.
全然。ゆずりはん。軽すぎて心配になるくらいよ。
Despite what she says, her footsteps betray her. She's really pushing herself.
よく見つけられたね。
大体の方角はリンゴさんから聞いていたから。ずっと走り通しだったから休んでもらったの。
Oh, she did her best.
死んでしまうほどだったのよ。
Gonna have to give her an ice cream when we get back. An ice cream as big as the one that I ate after lunch. The thing was huge, dude. From my position on Narine's back, I feel a profound gratitude.
残念だけれど、栗は持ってこられなかったわ。
Oh, dang it.
構わない。こっちの方が貴重だ。
I bury my nose in my best friend's nape, nuzzling against the skin. A tremor runs through her back at the ticklish sensation. Yeah, look, Narine, the girl's been through a lot. she kind of needs this.
そうかな。
そうよ。だって私のことはレリネちゃん。
Yep. My cheeks flush scarlet as I realize I spoke out while the boundaries between the dream world and the real one were still blurred.
そんなこと
I didn't know what you're talking about. I didn't say a thing. You didn't hear nothing.
しっかり聞いたわよ。レリネちゃんって。前は私のことをそう呼んでいたわよね。
She asks me why I stopped, and I find myself at a loss.
あだ名で呼んだ方が親密な気がしたな。
Oh, oh.
私はちゃん付けも好きだったのよ。
Oh.
ゆずりはちゃん。
勘弁してくれ。
I lower my head and nuzzle my nose against her neck again, drinking in her scent. For a while, the only sound that reaches my ears is the thud of her feet against the earth and
以
grass.
前にもこんなことがあったわ。
She murmurs to no one in particular. It's more like she's talking to herself than me.
森の中で。あれは遠足だったかしら。
Oh.
ゆずりはが怪我をして、水筒の水で膝小僧を洗ったの。
It's a big, meaningful memory for the both of them. The dream I was having.
ジュースは飲んではいけないって言われてたから、お水だったのよね。本当は残念だったけど、
Yeah, I don't imagine you could go around pouring some kind of juice on a wound and get the same type of cleansing properties. So yeah, that all kind of just, sometimes shit just works out, you know? On that trip, I shared my first proper handshake with the girl who would become my best friend.
それで肩を貸して歩き出そうとしたら痛くてゆずりはが泣き出して、その時もこうして背負ったのよ。覚えている？
How could I forget?
覚えているよ。
そうまだ私ゆずりはを背負えるわ。
The
頼り
best.
になるでしょ。
For better or worse in the situation that's currently enveloped this poor girl's heart. Do you even need to ask? Narine Komikado is a hero to me and...
最高に頼れるし。
Oh. And again, still like cutting herself deeply to have to word it like that. My vision blurs with tears. The more I try to fight them, the more the tears well up, ready to batter down the dam holding the floods back. Yuzuriha Yatsushiro. All over again, I've been made to recognize these feelings carved deep into my heart.
どうしようもなく。コミカドネリネが好きなんだ。
There it is. I grit my molars hard to try and contain the emotions that are threatening to explode out of me. My nose is stinging. She comes to a stop and turns her head like she's listening to the sounds of a festival far off in the distance. Then,
よかった。みんな来てくれたわよ。
spotting the concerned cooking club members rushing our way, she turns to me with a smile as clear as the winter sky. I look down so that she won't see my tears and nod. As she waves to them, from over my friend's shoulder, I watch the club members rush towards us, Suo Shirahane, Ichigo Sasaki, and Ringo Sasaki. Seeing her face makes me feel incredibly melancholy. Whatever the situation, it's up to you. Whether or not you're able to laugh it off, all depends on how you feel. My father's words. But what if they had come from my mother? There would be another unsaid line tacked on. You can't laugh without a heart. I squash down my feelings and smile at her, like I'm gazing off into the distance at my receding dream. There's a children's story called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. As she hurries along the road to the Emerald City to meet the wizard, Dorothy hears a dreadful roar. Behind the roar is a ferocious lion. He knocks down the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and is about to bite down on Dorothy's little dog, Toto. Heedless of the danger to herself, Dorothy slaps the lion across the nose and rescues Toto. Faced with the brave Dorothy, the lion admits his own cowardice and confesses that he'd been startled into trying to bite the small dog. The lion has long been unhappy with his cowardly nature and asks to accompany Dorothy and her friends on their journey to see to that he may ask the Wizard of Oz to give him courage. Of all Dorothy's companions, the most important to me is the third, the Cowardly Lion. In this chapter, Dorothy says of other wild beasts, "It seems to me that they must be more cowardly than you if they allow you to scare them so easily." Damn, just dumpstered. But the lion responds, "That doesn't make me any braver, and as long as I know myself to be a coward, I shall be unhappy." He's right. Even if thousands of others extol your bravery, so long as you remain unconvinced of it yourself, you'll be unhappy.
これから始まる
The story that begins now is of that cowardly lion who feigns his feelings.
臆病ライオンのお話。
The cowardly lion. All right. Wait, again. This one is doing such a great job of
寒くなってきたな。
tying the themes and characters in the Wizard of Oz to what is going on here. It's just been impeccable. Again, I know I've said it already, but it's definitely like the most potent that the storytelling has been in that regard throughout this series, and it's just really good, and I am super excited to see where we go next, because man, there's just so much on the surface now, and it's just, I feel like we are at that fever pitch where she's gotta do or say something, because she can't hold it in anymore. Like, she just can't. This is a girl that is like literally at her, she's gotta be at her limits. So hopefully everything will start to, we'll start seeing some kind of turnaround. We'll start seeing this girl trying to face up to something as this chapter wears on. So with that said, of course, thank you as always for making time for me in your day, and I hope you have a nice rest of your whatever, wherever it is that you are, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.